Just when you thought humans couldn't screw up Earth's oceans more if they tried, along comes a bunch of dangerous organisms that have learned to thrive on the floating continents of trash that are forming in our oceans. The Guardian reports that researchers have found that coastal species are forming colonies on the floating masses of plastic trash that are filling up our oceans. Species that previously had no way of crossing oceans are now doing so, using floating trash islands as a way to survive ocean crossings and devastating coastal species all over the world. Researchers have now also coined a term for these drifters, Neopelagic communities. These are seafaring colonies of anemones, brittle stars, shrimps, barnacles, and more, which are thriving on plastic in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and washing up wherever the currents take them. Researchers say this is not just a problem for the coastal species they destroy, but these floating colonies also lure in animals that eat them, like fish, turtles, dolphins, and whales. When these ocean animals hunt for food among the pieces of floating plastic and matted fishing nets, they often end up dying from ingesting plastic or from getting trapped in the non-biodegradable mess. And even if you ignore all the ecological problems that plastic trash is causing, there are a few people who don't have the ability to love the magic of pure nature, and few who are not deeply offended by seeing plastic trash washed up on a pristine beach. Do you ever want to just close your eyes and hope that the world's problems can just be solved by some genius inventor? Well, the Ocean Cleanup Project is one idea that comes under that category. Here's what you need to know. The Ocean Cleanup Project's largest system returned to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch last week, hoping to gather some of the 1.6 million square kilometers or 617,000 square miles of plastic that has accumulated there, according to New Atlas. Ocean Cleanup System 002 consists of a 600-meter or 2,000-foot U-shaped barrier that floats on the surface of the ocean with a skirt hanging off it down below, both dragged forward by two ships. The idea behind it is that plastic from the ocean gets caught up in both the barrier and the skirt, while fish and other marine life are free to swim below them, according to the Ocean Cleanup's website. The plastic that accumulates funnels down into a waste retention zone at the back of the system, where it can eventually be emptied by a support vessel. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, located between Hawaii and California, is the largest of 5 ocean garbage patches, according to the Ocean Cleanup's website, posing risks to the safety and health of marine animals, as well as carrying significant health and economic implications for humans. The Ocean Cleanup Project says that ultimately, in combination with decreasing the amount of plastic put into the ocean, it aims to remove 90% of floating ocean plastic by 2040. However, as the name suggests, System 002 is not the first iteration of this project, and 2 previous systems have run into problems. System 001 was a free-floating structure powered by the ocean's currents, waves, and wind, which was designed to travel faster than the plastic waste it looked to catch, enabling it to be collected as the structure moved through the water. But that design struggled to retain the plastics it captured because it moved too slowly, according to Design, and the Ocean Cleanup eventually reported that it had fractured, prompting the creation of an alternative design. That second design incorporated giant inflatable buoys and a parachute, both of which were designed to help control the speeds the system traveled at. Scientists at the Ocean Cleanup Project had noted problems with the system traveling both fast and too slowly at different points, and these modifications came in response to additional testing. The new system contains a more radical shift in direction in that it is no longer free-floating, rather dragged by 2 ships propelling it in the opposite direction to the ocean's currents. One benefit of having it towed by these crewed vessels is that the system can be steered towards areas of high waste concentration, according to New Atlas. However, widespread doubts about the project's viability in the face of so many design failures still persist. Speaking to Deep Sea News regarding the original design issues, Miriam Goldstein, Director of Ocean Policy at the Center for American Progress, said, "I certainly hope they will be able to get it to work, but this is a very difficult environment where equipment breaks, which is why you normally do things closer to shore where things are easier to repair." Plastic pollution is a global problem that is causing an environmental disaster in the world's oceans, and scientists have now found that the Mediterranean Sea is also filling up with plastic at a very high rate. Scientists have previously documented how the Pacific and other oceans are filling up with plastic trash that cover the sea floor or drift on the surface to form floating trash dumps the size of countries. One of these floating trash dumps is called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and it's 3 times the size of France. According to Reuters, scientists are now studying where all this ocean-destroying trash comes from and have found that most of it comes from rivers in Indonesia, China, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand. A recent study published by the International Union for Conservation of Nature has now also raised the alarm in the Mediterranean Sea. The study found that around 230,000 tons of plastic trash is dumped in the sea per year, and this number is expected to double by 2040 if ambitious steps are not taken soon. The study found that the nations most guilty of dumping plastic in the Mediterranean are Italy, Turkey, and Egypt. However, on a per capita basis, it is the individuals of Montenegro, Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and North Macedonia who throw the most trash in nature. The solution for this problem is a very elusive goal, and different people have different ideas of how to solve this problem. In the end, it seems obvious that nations and individuals need to educate themselves to the point where they can understand how important it is to recycle plastic, and not to simply dump it in nature. America's contribution to the plastic trash crisis in the world's oceans is up to 5 times worse than previously thought. The study was a sequel to 2015 research, which had given a rough estimate of the waste contribution by the U.S. The new study has now revealed that Americans contributed between 1.1 and 2.2 million metric tons of plastic to the oceans in 2016. This is 5 times more than the lowest estimates of 2015. The study has revealed that Americans are using more plastic than ever before, and the data included American waste exports that are not accounted for in their previous studies. About 88% of the country's waste exports goes to countries with poor recycling infrastructure. Recent developments have shown that much of the plastic waste that is exported does not go through recycling systems and ends up in the oceans. The Ocean Cleanup, the Dutch nonprofit organization developing technologies to rid the world's oceans of plastic, is ramping up production of its Interceptor, an autonomous system that removes plastic waste from rivers before it is able to reach the ocean. The Ocean Cleanup currently has 3 interceptors operating in Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Dominican Republic, with a 4th due to launch in Vietnam early next year. On Thursday, December 10th, the organization announced a partnership with Cranes, a Finnish company that produces lifting equipment. Cranes will handle manufacturing, installation, and maintenance of the interceptor with local partners. The company is already building 2 interceptors at its MHE DMAG facility in Klang, Malaysia. The interceptor is powered by solar energy and uses lithium-ion batteries, which theoretically enables it to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The vessel is anchored to the riverbed and uses a floating barrier that guides plastic waste from the river into the system's conveyor belt. Once plastic waste is on board, it is automatically put into one of 6 dumpsters on a barge inside the system. The system alerts local operators once all 6 dumpsters on board are full. Local operators then send over a vessel to collect the plastic waste. The barge is taken back to shore with the plastic waste and emptied for recycling. The barge is then reattached to the interceptor to collect more plastic debris. Ocean Cleanup states on its website that the interceptor is capable of extracting 50,000 kilograms of trash a day. The organization claims that under optimal conditions, that number could increase to 100,000 kilograms of waste per day. Ocean Cleanup has ambitious plans of tackling 1,000 of the world's most polluting rivers by 2025. The organization says it has established that these waterways, which comprise 1% of the world's rivers, are responsible for 80% of plastic waste present in oceans. In October, the organization announced that it would sell sunglasses made from plastic it has recycled from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch to help fund its operators.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.